Hi guys, I just finished the audiobook of Night Watch by Terry Pratchett, and I'm always saying that I need to read more Pratchett, and this was no exception. It made my next audiobook so boring that I almost fell asleep while driving. Night Watch is actually the second Pratchett book I've listened to recently. I did Going Postal right before Night Watch because the library had it, and then Katie told me, read Night Watch now, it's one of the best. So I did, and it was excellent. Recently, Neil Gaiman wrote an article talking about how Pratchett is not the, jolly old elf that everyone thinks. He's actually filled with rage just below the surface, and it's always, threatening to spill out, and you can definitely see that rage in Night Watch. Night Watch is the story of the commander of the Night Watch, Sam Vimes, and how he accidentally goes back in time and helps start the course of history that led him to being the great watchman that he turned out to be. Or maybe it was always going to be like that, and he only hindered it by coming back with a criminal. Time travel in Discworld seems more complicated than in other worlds. There is free will, but not infinite choice. History finds a way. We're all part of a pattern. Those are all things that people tried to say to explain what was going on. Anyway, the time travel was basically just the reason for the plot. The plot involved Sam teaching the historical night watchman everything he knows about being a good watchman, which is basically a cop in this kind of pre-industrial world. This includes going on patrol with his younger self. There was a good line in there about how when he saved younger Sam's life, he did it in literal self-defense. And that's kind of the thing about the Pratchett books, is they always have really good lines all the time. But throughout the book, you can feel Sam Vimes raging against the injustice of it all. He was torn from his life and his family and his wife. People died who were not supposed to die. Criminals escaped. Lame people were in charge. And the anger bursts out at various times, usually resulting in Vimes winning a fight. While Night Watch was an excellent book, I found it a bit intense. Way more than Going Postal, which is about a conman who rescues the almost extinct mail system, using cons and jokes and... yeah. Night Watch had plenty of puns and jokes, for sure, but it also had a background of, anger and injustice that made me a little bit uncomfortable. I think Sam Vimes is very much like a projection of Terry Pratchett himself, more than any of the characters in Going Postal. I feel like I have a greater understanding of the kind of person Pratchett is, since you'd have to be an intense person to even conceive a character like Sam Vimes.